I'm of the
This
view that
is
the
Antique
performance of my
Newsroom.
administration would have been the best performance of any administration since independence. Sevier stands out as the greatest leader in this country, and his best performance would have been during the period of
This
colonialism
is
when
Antique
the party
Newsroom.
first started in the. If you go back to 1939 to the trade union movement until independence, I mean he stands out by himself. However, since 1981, there is no other administration that has performed better than my administration
This
when
is
it comes
Antique
to
Newsroom.
governance and ensuring that there's no abuse of public resources. There's none that would have governed this country better. Ensuring that there's good governance, transparent, accountable governance. When you look at the issue of education, providing up to 1,600 scholarships
This is
annually for
Antique
students,
Newsroom.
spending over $25 million a year supporting scholarships to university education. No other government has ever done anything of that nature. I spoke about housing earlier. When you look at the improvements in the health infrastructure, the polyclinics that we have constructed, and even did a 75-bed hospital during COVID, the infectious disease center as well. We haven't opened up the 75-bed hospital as yet because
This
there's
is
really no
Antique
strong demand for it
Newsroom.
at this time. But we have all the beds and so on ready. We still need a few more pieces of equipment before we open it. UE5 Islands, and I want to tell you, see that investment in UE5 Islands. In fact, we have committed to spend at least another 60 million US dollars to build out the campus. We are now negotiating with some landowners to acquire an additional 50 acres of land
This
immediately.
is Antique
The University
Newsroom.
of Five Islands will become one of the most significant contributors to the socioeconomic development of this country. I spoke earlier about the entrepreneurial fund to fund business startups, car ownership based on the kind of savings. And you know what has happened to with those concessions that we've given for people to buy these used cars cash? What we found is that whereas in the past, people used to go and buy these new cars, and I'm not making a case for people not to buy the new cars, yeah, because we want our new car dealerships as well to continue to do well. We have people employed and so on. But the point I'm making is that people used to go and spend the
This
$80,000 and so
is
on to buy a new
Antique
car,
Newsroom.
and when they finish paying the loan and that, they can't do anything else. What is happening now? People buy the little used car and they have enough money they can also do a mortgage. So you find out that whereas young people used to be satisfied renting a little apartment and having the car, nowadays the aspirations change. I mean, people are now rushing for properties, and that is why we are now even incentivizing private people to build homes. And just in case any of you are
This is
entrepreneurs, we are
Antique
offering land
Newsroom.
to entrepreneurs at $3 a square foot to construct homes for people because we want to accelerate the construction of homes. And in terms of empowering people, I mean, finding them employment, we've been successful with that. Car ownership, home ownership, business ownership, university education, good health care. I mean, having the infrastructure in place to fund business startup and so on. We have performed. We've grown the country's economy. I've told you that we've added
This is
$1.3
Antique
billion
Newsroom.
to the country's economy. That is why so many people were able to get work. That is why so many school leavers were able to get work and were able to keep unemployment down. I mean, I spoke about the improvements to our broadband services. I mean, even land ownership, providing opportunity for our people to own land. Just recently, we acquired 6,000 laptops. And by the way, if you'd allow me to just digress a bit, I'm making the point here that we have performed,
This
and that is
is
why we are
Antique
confident
Newsroom.
that we'll be reelected. When it comes to investments, I mean, it was the most vibrant, sustainable growth that we have seen in this country took place since independence took place under my leadership. There was a time during the 1980s when there were one or two projects that were driving growth. But at this point, you would not have seen perhaps any other
This
country in the
is
hemisphere that
Antique
would have enjoyed
Newsroom.
5 years of consecutive growth of an average about 5% per annum. The largest private sector investment in the Caribbean is taking place right here in this country, PLH. They're spending about, well, this year is about 150 million US dollars, and some next year they're getting up to about 200 million US dollars a year in the investment. It will be a multi-billion-dollar project that is taking place. Some of the wealthiest people in the world, I mean, they are literally building homes over in Barbuda, ranging between I'd say 15 to about 40 million US a piece. Antigua and Barbuda very shortly, by the first quarter of next
This
year, will
is
have an
Antique and Neutral.
additional airport that can take jet traffic. There's no other country in the OECS that has that. In Barbuda, Barbuda will be fueled by green energy from the end of next month. That's because we're spending $30 million to put in a solar voltaic plant that during the daylight hours will power Barbuda. And we also have batteries, so a few hours during the night
This
they will
is
be
Antique
powered
and
by
Neutral.
batteries, and we will be spending perhaps another $3 million to acquire more batteries, so that Barbuda will become totally green insofar as the production of energy.